Hello.
Hi! Welcome to Boxer Bros Broadcasting.
Broadcasting.
And today we will be reading you fairy tales. It was, the other person's choice. I'm not going to say her name because, people on the internet, they're a little cuckoo. Okay, so we'll start with
Thumbelina.
Yeah. Yep. Just gotta turn to the page.
Yes.
Right. Let's see. No. Is it? No. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Wasting your time. But
You
should
have this ready.
Oh yeah, I did. It's before the Little Mermaid.
All right.
We found it.
Basically,
You just gotta
okay.
turn to the beginning.
So this is Thumbelina.
Listen up good, people. Okay? I'm not gonna say this again. It's gonna take a long time. Once there was a woman who lived. Once there was a little. Sorry, guys, I keep messing up. Once there was a woman who lived alone in a tiny cottage. She loved her beautiful garden and the birds that sang there, but she longed for a child to share her joy. One day, an old peddler woman came to her gate. I believe I have something that can help you, the peddler told her kindly. She pulled a small bundle from one of her pockets. Take these seeds and plant them in your garden. Within a month, you'll find your heart's desire. I wish you luck, my dear. The woman thanked the peddler and planted the seeds. As soon as she watered them, a beautiful tulip grew from the earth. What a lovely flower, said the woman. She bent down to kiss its delicate petals. When she did, the petals opened. Sitting in the center of the flower was the most beautiful child she had ever seen. Dear child, she said, you are no bigger than my thumb. I will call you Thumbelina. The woman cared for Thumbelina like her own daughter. They spent their days in the garden, and the woman was perfectly contented at last. One day, the woman stepped inside the cottage for a moment while Thumbelina played merrily in the garden. The tiny girl's sweet singing attracted the attention of an ugly toad who was walking by. She's a pretty little thing, he thought to himself. I would like to make her my wife. The toad snatched Thumbelina from the garden and brought her to his lily pad in a distant pond. Wait here while I make our wedding preparations, he told her. Thumbelina strained to glimpse the edge of the pond, but the water stretched as far as she could see. She knelt on the lily pad and began to cry. Her tears, her tears made ripples in the pond and brought some curious fish to the surface. They took pity on the girl and nibbled through the lily pad stem. They floated the lily pad down the stream. As she alighted on the shore, Thumbelina thanked the fish for their help. She walked as far as her legs could carry her, but she did not know where to find her mother's garden. As night fell, she wove a tiny hammock from blades of grass. Thumbelina searched the woods for many weeks looking for her mother. Then the leaves changed colors and the nights grew colder as winter approached. One day Thumbelina wandered farther than ever before. As night began to fall, she found herself a great distance from her shelter. A wolf howled in the distance, and Thumbelina began to run. In her haste, she tripped over a tree root and fell. Suddenly, she saw a small door in the bottom of the tree trunk. Thumbelina knocked shyly. The door opened a crack, and a little field mouse peered out. When the mouse saw the lovely girl on her doorstep, she invited her in to warm herself by the fire. After hearing of Thumbelina's plight, the kind mouse invited her to stay through the winter. Thumbelina helped the field mouse gather food and supplies for the cold months ahead. Then the two friends settled down together in the burrow. One day a strange sound brought the field mouse and Thumbelina to the window. There they saw a sparrow with an injured wing. He had been traveling south for the winter, but now he could no longer fly. The sparrow knew he could not survive the cold winter outside. The hospital field the the hospitable the hospitable field mouse welcomed the sparrow into her home. Thumbelina helped him into the burrow and tried to make him comfortable. Wow, this is a long story. The sparrow was surprised to see such a tiny person living with a field mouse. Are you a fairy princess? He asked Thumbelina. What is a fairy? She asked. Some day, when my wing is better, I will show you, answered the sparrow. Thumbelina asked if he was one of the lovely birds that had taught her to sing in her mother's garden. He was not, but his cousin had told him stories of singing with a tiny girl. Thumbelina was overjoyed. Yes, it was who I sang. It was I who sang with your cousin. What a glorious voice he has. Thumbelina began to sing for the sparrow and the little field mouse. They were delighted to hear her sweet voice and insisted that she sing for them every single day. The winter passed quite quickly in the snug little burrow. The sparrow's wings soon healed, and the friends entertained themselves with stories and songs. They even built a tiny stage for themselves from a human-sized thimble. Although she was happy all winter long, Thumbelina continued to dream of her mother in their garden. She longed to return to her home. When spring arrived, the sparrow offered to carry Thumbelina to her mother's cottage. They parted sadly from their friend the field mouse. Then they flew off into the fresh spring air. I have a surprise for you, Thumbelina, the sparrow told her as he landed on a flower. I have brought you to the land where the fairies live. I promise. Just then a white flower opened up to reveal a perfect little boy. He was the same size as Thumbelina. On his back was a pair of wings, and he also wore a tiny golden crown. He was the Prince of Fairies. The prince asked Thumbelina to be his bride. He placed the golden crown on her head. Then two smaller fairies fastened a pair of delicate wings onto her back. Thumbelina curtsied in pleasure, happy to have found creatures like her. I will marry you, Prince, she answered happily. But you and the fairies must come to live with me in my mother's garden. I will be happy, and I will never be happy anywhere else. The sparrow guided Thumbelina and the other fairies back to her mother's home. When they arrived, the woman was overjoyed to see her dear daughter again. She was also delighted by the fairies. Every summer the sparrow visited the garden, where they all lived happily ever after. Okay, now it is the other person's turn.
But we will discuss the story first.
Yes, we will discuss that terribly long story. Yeah.
Okay.
That was really long. It was
Yeah.
like a billion pages long.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that from Thumbelina the movie.
Oh, that's
They
a
were-
really good movie.
Yeah, I really like that movie. I forgot how good it was.
I think it's like a Barbie movie or something.
No, that's a different
Really?
movie.
Oh. I've seen two of them then. Okay, go on.
Okay, yeah. And I remember that there was a lot more stuff that went on in the movie.
Yeah, like she spent more time with her mom.
And more happened with the frog.
Yeah,
A lot more happened with the frog.
yeah. There were like 3 frogs too, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And I don't think there were any fish.
No,
Not that
there
I-
were.
There were?
Yeah, there might not have been fish, though. I remember that they cut the lily pad.
Uh,
And she wore that really ugly dress, I remember.
okay, so now it is
Time for The Little Mermaid.
yeah, and the other person's gonna read that. I'm not gonna say her name, but yes, you made that quite clear. Okay, I'll start. Action!
Deep in the ocean, a sea king lived in a castle made of coral.
His kingdom was filled with colorful plants that swayed gracefully in the currents. Fish of all shapes and sizes glided between their branches, as birds do on land. The Sea King had 6 daughters. The youngest was the loveliest of all. She was quiet and thoughtful, and she had the most beautiful singing voice of all the mermaids in the kingdom. Nothing gave the youngest princess more pleasure than to hear about the world above the sea. It seemed wonderful to her that
Boring.
Shut up. It seemed yours was boring and I didn't say anything. Okay. It seemed wonderful that to her that the flowers on the land had fragrance, and that the fish, which were called birds, there could sing. On her 15th birthday, each princess was allowed to visit was allowed to visit was allowed to visit the water's surface for the first time. Year after year, the little mermaid watched her older sisters take their turns. They were delighted with what they had seen. But soon, since they could go up whenever they pleased, the older daughters became indifferent. Finally, it was the little mermaid's turn. She waved goodbye to her sisters and rose swiftly to the surface. As she broke through the water, the little mermaid saw a large ship. Strange music spilled from the deck, and hundreds of colored lanterns were lit in celebration. She swam closer and saw a handsome young prince. She watched him for a long time and realized it was his birthday too. The wind began to blow harder, and the sky grew very dark. Pounding waves battered the prince's ship, and she could hear it creak and groan. Suddenly, in the flash of lightning, she saw the handsome prince fall into the sea and begin to sink. At first, the little mermaid thought the handsome prince would come to her father's kingdom, but then she remembered that the human prince could not survive beneath the sea. She dove under the waves and used all of her strength to pull the prince's head above the water. Then she broke him safely to shore. Brought him safely to shore. Tenderly, the little mermaid brushed the hair from the prince's face and bent her head to kiss his forehead. When she heard exciting shouts from the other end of the beach, she knew that she must leave him. She took one last look at the prince and then quickly slipped beneath the surface of the water. For many days, the little mermaid could think of nothing but the handsome prince.
Handsome prince.
When she told her sisters, they wept with her. Perhaps the sea witch will agree to help you, they said. The brave little mermaid went to the sea witch at once. When she arrived, the witch knew why she had come. Princess, I can give you human legs so you can walk and dance on land, she said. But in return, you must give me your lovely voice. The mermaid agreed to her terms.
Uh-oh.
The witch prepared the magic potion and sealed it tightly in a bottle. When she captured the little mermaid's voice so the girl could neither speak nor sing, the little mermaid swam to the surface and drank the potion without hesitation. She felt quite strange, and her tail began to ache. Then before her eyes her tail transformed into 2 beautiful human legs. The prince was on his morning walk, and he discovered the beautiful silent girl on the beach. Not knowing how else to help her, he brought her with him to the palace. The little mermaid was given gowns of fine silk and muslin to wear. She was the most beautiful creature in the palace, but she could not communicate with her voice. Instead, the girl used her graceful movements and expressive eyes to speak to those around her. She danced and glided on her new legs as though she were swimming on land. Everyone in the palace was enchanted by the little mermaid, especially the prince. He felt as if he had met her before.
Everywhere the prince went, the little mermaid was by his side. They rode together on horseback through the sweet-scented woods. Green boughs touched their shoulders.
Wow.
Boughs touched their
Boughs.
shoulders, and the little birds sang among the fresh leaves. She climbed with the prince to the top of the tall mountains. They wound their way higher and higher until they could see soft clouds far below them. As the days passed, the little mermaid loved the prince more dearly, and he also grew very fond of her. At night, when the royal household was asleep, the little mermaid would follow the broad broad
Bro.
broadcasting broad marble steps from the palace down to the water's edge, where there she would sit in the moonlight and bathe her weary feet in the cold sea water. Okay. Her thoughts would turn to her beloved family deep in the water below. One night her sisters rose to the surface, singing sorrowfully as they floated on the water. She beckoned to them, and they recognized her and swam closer. They told the little mermaid how much they missed her. They pleaded with her to return with them to their land beneath the sea.
Land beneath the sea.
Yes, it's land. That's stupid. The little mermaid smiled at them. She wanted to tell them how happy she was. She could only gesture with her eyes and the graceful movements of her hands and arms. She tried to explain how wonderful it was to be with the prince. Her sisters were comforted to see that the little mermaid was happy. After that, her sisters came to the palace every night to visit her. Once she even saw her father in the distance. He had not been to the surface in many years, and so did not venture so near the land as her sisters. One day the prince and the little mermaid returned from a walk in the gardens to find the king and queen waiting to speak with the prince. They had made the acquaintance of a neighboring king, and they believed his daughter, the princess, would make a suitable bride for them. The little mermaid felt a sudden chill after all she had sacrificed to be with the prince. Where am I? Would he choose to marry another? At the thought, her expressive eyes became more brilliant with tears. Yet she smiled at the prince. The prince reached for the little mermaid's hand. When she turned to see him, she saw the look of love. Could her dream be coming true? Mother and father, said the prince, my true love is here. I desire no other. The prince sank to one knee and looked into the little mermaid's eyes. She bent her head to kiss the prince's cheek. Suddenly the little mermaid's voice returned to her. Their love had broken the sea with a spell. Soon after, the prince and the little mermaid were married. As they set sail on their wedding voyage, the king and queen waved from the shore. The little mermaid's sisters and father followed the ship out to the sea. The little mermaid and the handsome prince lived happily ever after.
Oh my gosh.
The end.
That was so boring.
Okay.
All these stories are so long. Okay, guys, I promise. Next broadcast, we will do a exciting thing.
That involves music. Don't touch it. Okay, so I think that they didn't even at all say about the sea witch coming
know, that
above
was so
and trying to
stupid.
marry the prince.
That was so stupid. Somewhere
And her sisters came and visited her. No. Trying to do broadcasting. And what else?
Nobody cares.
The pictures are really pretty, and if you're wondering what book this was, it's Once Upon a Time, Treasury of Fairy Tales by
Somebody.
by
the humbug.
by
Bye, nobody cares.
by
Bye, Jordan.
by Louis Weber.
Loose. His real name's Liz.
And we got it at TJ Maxx for about $9.94.
How do you know that you got it at TJ Maxx?
Says it right here. TJ Maxx, $9.94.
Oh, that's stupid.
Yeah. So it was actually cheaper than $9.94, but you might want to get that since I got it for my birthday. Anyway.
Try to get it on like Amazon or something because it will be cheaper. Probably.
Yeah, but the stories are so awesome. Okay, so these are the stories
They're
that
really
are
long.
inside. Yeah, they're really long, but they're nice.
All right, should we end this?
There's Cinderella,
They're
Rapunzel.
getting bored. I don't think anybody's
No,
gonna
but
watch
it's
this.
real quick for crying out loud.
Okay, go.
Okay, so there's Cinderella, Rapunzel, Puss in Boots, the Little Red Riding Hood, Jack and the Beanstalk, the Nightingale, Hansel and Gretel, Sleeping Beauty, the Three Golden Flowers, George and the Dragon, the Princess and the Pea, the Selfish Giant, the Ugly Duckling, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Vasilisa and the Magic Doll, Beauty and the Beast, Rumpelstiltskin, the Three Pigs, 12 Dancing Princesses, the Little Dutch Boy, the Wild Swans, Snow White, the Frog Prince, the Elves on the Shoemaker, the Goose Girl, the Flying Prince, Thumbelina, the Little Mermaid, and that's it. Okay, at the end.
Wait. Okay, so this broadcast was more for like little, like tots. Tots.
Tots.
Bye-bye,
Bye-bye,
tots.
Tots.
It's tots.
Tots.